Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the December edition of JoziPug. Last one for the year. Actually got more people here than we anticipated, so good to see you all. Thanks for coming through. We're going to have lots to eat after this. There's going to be lots of pizzas. Thanks, David, Manny. Yeah, so it's great to see you all. Just for those who are online as well, some of the logistics, we are recording. Videos are being uploaded to our YouTube channel. That is starting to gain a lot of traction. So if you do miss out on anything, go and check out the stuff there. That's falling off here. I'll put it back on. I'll just share it with the team. It on our meetup as well, so the guys can grab it there. Yeah, Google it. Okay, so we're going to go through brief in the news. I've just got a couple of things I want to mention, and then it's going to be slightly different tonight. We're going to be having a look at some games in the Power Platform. This has always been an interesting topic. I remember a couple of years ago, there was a Star Wars game that was built. It was quite interesting to see, and over the years, more and more things have been created. We were actually part of a hackathon last week where kids decided on the use cases, and the teams built out a whole bunch of games for kids in the platform using Gen AI and a bunch of things. So it's really interesting to see what you're able to get out of that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, and then we're going to have some snacks and a break, and then we're going to combine the other meetups. We're all going to go through a quiz extravaganza evening. There's going to be prizes up for grabs, so stick around after the meal, and there are some things that will be given away. We might give away a couple of prizes in tonight's session as well. Yeah. So, just quickly, in the news, first thing was Ignite last month. Lots of great announcements came out, lots of cool things in the platform. Obviously, it's a lot to go through. There were so many sessions. I'm still trying to catch up on everything inside there. But the book of news is there. This is an amazing resource for you to go and see the top announcements in each of the areas, as well as links to the sessions where that stuff was mentioned. So if you only want to hone in on a certain area, check out the book of news. It'll list all the updates, and you'll get links to the various sessions inside there. Okay. Next item. The Maker Copilot is now available in every single region. Okay. So before it was only certain regions, it was busy rolling out. Now it is available everywhere. You'll see you might need to go into your subscription and turn it on for it to work. There is a Gen AI section. Where is it? I think it's this next page. Let's just go here quickly. No, it's still jumping through back. But there is a section where you just need to go in and turn it on. Here we go. So advanced settings, and then you got your Gen AI. There we go. And you just got to make sure those are turned on. Now, this has helped organizations very quickly move. There's some great stats coming out about how people are more effective with this tool set. So if you haven't enabled it, definitely go check it out. Next one, improved Power FX formula bar. So for those who are used to Visual Studio Code, you'll see this is busy. It's in public preview at the moment. The new formula expression bar is going to highlight things a lot better. It's going to be a lot easier to see what you're doing in there, as well as some of the suggestions coming through inside. So they've finally done some rework on the formula bar. Definitely going to add a lot of value. Cards for Power Apps now supports application lifecycle management and DLP. So now you can use specific security roles to control who can create cards, who can read them, who can write them. So you have a lot more control over this. We see cards becoming a lot more popular, being utilized in a lot more spaces. So this is just going to help make sure that we can build out these solutions according to our organizational requirements. And then lastly, Dataverse link with Fabric. So now you can make all of tables and everything in Dataverse available in one lake. You can also go and build out Power Apps, workflows, and that integrating with the data in Fabric as well. So this is really going to be a game changer. It makes it a lot easier to access this information. What's also great is ISVs can start building out solutions on top of this as well. I'm actually working with a couple of organizations that are looking at exposing data in OneLake to their customers, and they're doing that through the Power Platform. So really great to see all of this coming through. Okay. Any questions? Anyone seen anything else in the news that they would like to raise and talk about?
I'm forgetting about timing now, but when was the announcement around Microsoft Copilot Studio? Was that since our last one? Okay. So I guess that's another big one, because essentially Power Virtual Agent, in quotes, was rebranded to Microsoft Copilot Studio. So suddenly one day you went in and it was Microsoft Power Virtual Agent, and the next day it was Microsoft Copilot Studio. And the other part of that is essentially, instead of creating chatbots, you create copilots. So when you go in there, you see copilots on the left, you don't see chatbots. And then you can create, like you've always been able to, standalone chatbots or copilots, but now you can also use it to extend M365 Copilot. So if you've got M365 Copilot and you want that to talk to a line of business system, the way you extend it is through Microsoft Copilot Studio. And you can go and add plugins and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. And then there was also a change in licensing, surprise. So Copilot Studio, in the past, you would buy batches of sessions. Now you buy batches of messages. So in the past, you'd get 2,000 chat sessions per month, per batch. Now you get 25,000 messages in a batch per month. So it's a different way of, it's, if you send a message and get a response, that's a message. Yeah. So there's a lot to go through there, but that just at a high level is some of the changes that you'll see. And there's more. I mean, there's plugins that were added. There's a whole new set of menu items, generative actions you can use now, and it'll generate topics for you at runtime. It's pretty freaky. So there's a lot there. There's a lot there, which I think is pretty cool. So that's it. Pleasure.
Also, named formulas have gone generally available. I don't know if you guys have worked with named formulas yet. It's fantastic. It really makes such a big difference to a Canvas app. So named formulas are now generally available, which makes me sleep a lot easier because I've been silently using them in some production apps. Luckily, they stuck around. So,
anything from anyone else? Anyone online? We do have a couple of people online. Okay, perfect. So the next section, we talked about games. So I'm going to take you through something that I've been working on lately. Let's just put this up here. Yes. Yes. Okay, so I've built one of these text experience games in Power Virtual Agents. So for those of us old enough to remember, well, in Copilot Studio, sorry. Okay, so in my Copilot. Yeah. For those who remember, many years ago when we first had games, it was really these text-based games where it would give you a scenario and you would tell it what you want to do next, and then it would take you a various couple of things. Quests. West. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So what I've done inside here is built an experience that is called Lost in Sun City. I got this inspiration from another person that built something similar in Dynamics. And they built a Lost in Seattle or Lost in Redmond game. It was all about exploring Redmond. So what I've done inside here, we've built it in Sun City. This is still a work in progress. I've got the basic flow done. There are still a lot of other riddles I want to add in and bring in to make it a lot more challenging. At the moment now, it's just going to the right places. You find the clues and then you move on to the next place until you've got all of the clues. So it starts off, you're in Sun City, you're sitting at a slot machine, and all of a sudden, load shedding kicks in. Everyone disappears when you realize, and you're sitting there alone. Yeah, so it goes through, tells you your mission, you need to find your access card, remember your hotel room, and remember your room number. I've got some images in some of these scenes as well. And now you get an option of what you want to do next. So you can go and like choose, okay, let's have a look at the casino floor. Let's see if I can find anything. And it takes you through a bit of a storyline, looking for your access card, searching the floor. Let's go to the lost and found and see what's inside there. Now you can see it's picked up a bunch of things. So with us going to the lost and found, we managed to find a receipt for the crocodile farm. So now we can choose whether we want to go to the crocodile farm or if we want to go back to searching. Yeah, so let's go to the crocodile farm. I'll show you how all this comes together just now. So yeah, you're at the crocodile farm, but everything's quiet and dead. And you realize that all the animals in the enclosures are dead. But through this whole process, you manage to find a water damage brochure of the Valley of the Waves. So now you can choose either explore the Valley of the Waves or go on to the next area in Sun City. So for now, I'm going to jump to the other areas. And then we've got all of the various locations inside there. I want to go to the golf course because we played golf. Because one of the steps is you're like, okay, what did I do today? And you try and remember. And one of the things that was play some golf. So now it gives you a brief description of what it looks like. Where am I? No, I've gone to the wrong place. Reflect by the pools. Yeah, so let's go sit by one of the water hazards to sit and contemplate what happened. And then all of a sudden, a crocodile comes out of the water and munches you and you die. You start over from scratch. Okay. Yeah. Now, not you. I want to go to, there we go. So let's go to my solution. And at the moment, this is a Copilot Studio agent. It's got a Dataverse table. Yeah. Where's my solution? So you can see inside here, it's mostly the topics. We've got the actual Copilot Studio, and then we've got a couple of workflows or Power Automate flows that we are using to manage the inventory. So as soon as you find a clue, that clue gets stored in your inventory, so you can record it later on. And then at any point in the time, you can go in and ask it to check your inventory and list all the items in your inventory for you. There are also certain stages in the game where you can't move on unless you've got one of those items in your inventory. So it's like you can go to the hotels and you want to go up to the rooms and says you don't know it because you don't have that item in your inventory. You also can't unlock your room without having the room key. And every time you die, you lose everything in your inventory. So you've got to start over from scratch again. What? Stay away from the water. Yeah. So like I said, there's still a couple of things I want to bring in. I mean, you can see these inventory items, these workflows are pretty standard. Let's just go in. Yeah. Let's edit that one. And then see where is the room key check. Just so you can see what these flows look like. It's just a basic standard flow that's being kicked off from Copilot Studio agent, and then does a dataverse lookup, and then it returns a value at the end. So this one, you can see there, this is just adding an item to the inventory. We're getting the information from there. So I'm able to send these through on each step. So it's simple, one flow that can be provided across multiple different experiences to add it in. So we're not hard coding any of the items inside there. And then you see it's still Power Virtual Agent. So got a variable that I'm initializing. Listing the rows, searching for the room key, setting the variable if it is in there, and then just returning that value back to Power Virtual Agents. And then you'll see what does get quite messy. Let me just start off with one. Where is it? Banners? Yeah, it was cabanas. So let's go. Stop. So it can get very, very messy and complicated when you start working with all of these branches and options and questions. So you can see inside, let's just close that off a bit there. You can see this is a simple one. So there's a couple of conditions here, and then here's the hotel room check. So there we go. I'm calling that Power Automate flow. And if I know the room number, it passes me through to the room. If not, it says you don't have your key. But you can see it's just checking the value that comes back from Power Automate. So you can see over here, it's just checking to see if it's false. If it is, then it says you don't have your key yet, and it throws you back to the beginning of the conversation. This is quite a nice feature that I've never used before this, but where you can add a step and choose where you want to go in the topic. So I can go and say, go to this specific step, and then I can just go take it back to the beginning or to other various items. What is also really interesting is when you're in a conversation and you go call another topic, like I've got the inventory check, instead of me remaining in that inventory check conversation, it goes back to the topic that I was on. So now even when I'm in the middle of an item where I've got some options to choose from, if I go check my inventory, it just throws me back to where I was before. So that was quite a nice find that I picked up inside there. Otherwise, you can even just redirect to other topics completely. And that's how I managed it. I first started trying to build it all into one topic. It did not work. You have to jump between all of them to make it actually legible at the end. Okay. I will be pushing this out in January. I want to do some final changes on it over December, but then you guys are free to play around with it, import it, check it out. Yes. Okay, cool. Because that's the other thing. I also want to bring in multiple endings depending on the type of things that you have in your inventory, the places that you visited, and everything else. No, room keys there. Yeah. No, I did not write every bit. I set the scene, the scenario, ChatGPT rose through it. Yeah. So what I did is I created a GPT and I set it scenario. You're helping me build this game in Power Virtual Agents. This is the scenario. And so when I keep asking it questions, it's still got that context. Because I find if you're working with ChatGPT in a single conversation, once you start getting 40 or 50 messages into that conversation, it starts getting very slow and buggy. So by setting a GPT that's been specifically designed for that, it's a lot more reliable, a lot more consistent. No. Yeah. I saw one the other day. This guy was building a Dungeons and Dragons exploring game, and it was integrated with DALL-E and normal OpenAI. And as you made decisions, it would generate the storyline as well as the imagery that was in there. So no two playthroughs would ever be exactly the same, which was quite an interesting concept to see. The only thing with image generation live, it does slow things down a bit because it takes a while to generate that image and for it to populate through. But you're playing a text-based game. You're not in any hurries anyway. So, quite fun. Yeah. Yeah. It's not me. Yeah. Oh. We'll come back. Perfect. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm going to hand over to Michael.
Cool. So I didn't build any game myself. I just went and found some, and I thought it would be pretty cool to show them to you. Not mine at all. So on this community gallery, you can filter by Kid Zone or Kids apps, and there's a whole bunch here. So I went through and I picked two, and I'll show them both to you because I think they're pretty cool. I didn't try all of these for sure, but the one that I'll show you is this Pokey Bubbles game, and the other one is Simon. So I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember that. Oh, really? So my kids have one of these, and one of the irritating things about it is the noise it makes. Yeah, they spend hours on this silly thing. But so some guy, and his name is not Simon. The game is called Simon. But this guy, Emmanuel, has built a power app, which is essentially this game. And I guess the cool thing is you can give it to your child and put headphones on them. Okay, and then you won't hear. Dun, 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 dun. So yeah, so you can go and get it. Actually, the thing that's quite interesting about this is when you go and explore some of these games, most of them are published to GitHub, and then you actually find some other really cool stuff that they've published. So in here, if I go to apps, you'll see that there's this game here called Simon. So there's the Simon game. But actually, he's got some other cool stuff here as well. So he's got lots of PCF controls, which look kind of interesting. Anyway, it's not quite the same as, like following YouTube videos or whatever, but it's quite interesting when you follow the trail of some of these games, of some of the stuff that you find that you didn't know existed, which will save you a lot of time. Anyway, so let's go to this game. So I imported this game. It's a single screen app. So he's got one screen. I added screen one to do some testing, but let's check it out. So let's click start. Oh, we need a high volume that, eh? Did you hear that? Kind of. damn it. And you could sit here for hours and you just keep going. Yeah, so let's just do this here. So when I tried to figure out how this thing's built, there was a few interesting things I learned, which I never knew before. So these buttons here, they are timer controls. That button is a timer control. Yes. So if you put a timer control on a screen, this is a timer control there, it's got different radiuses. So instead of just setting the radius and it changes everything, it's got radius bottom left, radius bottom right. So that's how he gets those shapes. So they're actually timer controls. And he uses the capability of a timer to make it go, you know, and you can change that duration if you find the game's a little bit too slow for you. Yeah, so I thought that was one interesting learning. The other thing that he's doing is, let's do this. Just come here. Sorry, I'm looking for a little debug toggle that I found. Let's just switch the visibility of this to on. So if I go here and I switch debug to on, then he shows a few extra things. So this over here is basically a collection of what I've put in. So what I clicked. So basically this is 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is the collection of what it's got in. That's what I have to follow basically. So there's basically just two collections. And this collection here is generated through a random function. Yeah, so it's randomly generated. So the next time I run this, I click start, it'll be a different sequence. And then he's got these just to show you what's in there. And a few other variables that dictate what's going on, which is pretty cool. And the way that those get initialized are also actually through a timer function. So timer yellow is that one there, etc. And so then he's got this thing here. And this is the one with basically all the logic. I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one here. Yeah. I know what I'm looking for. With one hand, it is always more challenging for me. Come on. Okay, so I'm not getting the little. Where? Thank you. I've never used that button. Never in my life. So I've just learned something new. I've used that all the time. I've never used that button. See, the things you learn. So yeah, so this is essentially where that collection is being created. Bong, 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 bong. And then, no, I'm not scrolling anyway. Stop it. And then are the little audio clips that give you the sound. So audio yellow, audio blue. So these are little media. Yeah. So you could change it to dog, cat, horse, or whatever you wanted to. How cool is that? So I know what you're going to do. Is you're all going to put this. Okay. Yeah. Oh. You could do what? Guitar Hero. I'm so looking forward to your presentation this time next year. If you'd like to present it before next year this time, you're also welcome to. So yeah, there we go. I don't have much more detail to show than that. And then the other one is from someone called Michelle Wong, and she's got a few things. So she's got this pokey bubble game that she built for her kid. Anyway, you can go download it and install it. And that is this one. Play the game. And I haven't unpacked how this works. But basically the idea is you have to say which of these is at the bottom. So it's that one. And obviously if you're on a phone, then you can do it much faster and you get timed, and then there's like a leaderboard. It is kind of addictive. I think the sounds are pretty cool. Okay, phew, this one should be easy. Game over. And if I'd actually won, then I get a chance to put in my name and be on the leaderboard. I don't think there's a global leaderboard. I think it's, in fact, I know it's just in the collection here. So it doesn't persist like to the Dataverse or to a SharePoint list or anything like that. There is, if I look at the data here, it's just a collection of the leaderboard. So the next time I start it, that whole collection is gone. But anyway, I think you would have a lot of fun exploring how this works. It's actually quite interesting when you go and look at how they build stuff. Because I know David was joking, this is a cool interface for a purchase requisition approval app or whatever. But actually, there's some interesting logic that can be used in more boring line of business systems. So there you go. That's it. That's all I wanted to show you. None of them are mine, but they look pretty cool. Yeah. Cool. That's me. David, over to you. You can tell us a joke in the meantime. It was a basic slurp joke. Good.
I'm actually glad we didn't give you the microphone because no, that's not recorded. Right, so who knows a gentleman by the name of Scott Durow? It should be that this could be a prize. So if there's one YouTube channel you really want to follow for some crazy advanced power app stuff, it's Scott's. So going to show you a game, and I've had quite a bit of time to go through it and go through the back end and see how I did it, but I still couldn't figure it out. It's like 8 levels above my pay grade. This is absolutely insane. Yes, I am. You see, this is the stuff I struggle with, so I'm not even going to try and explain how I did that. So one of the key things that he got right with this game is the fact that there's a lot of people who've built games that involve movement. The problem with it, though, is that all the timer controls, the timing is not that accurate. So you get these inconsistent movement where he's found a way to actually solve that. So he's got this little function algorithm thing going to go and check if it is to give you that smooth experience. I'm not going to even try and explain how that works. So, but the game that he's developed, the game is called Power Laps. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and play this. All right, so there's a game. Looking pretty good so far. And I'm going to hit the race button. Right, so there we go, off to the races. I can move it around with my mouse. Okay, so there we go. It's going to be, like you see, it's actually pretty decent smooth. It's got a little map at the top that shows you your progress. It's got all of these contours and all of these. So he's got a whole video on how he did this. It doesn't go into a lot of detail. Oh, so I crashed. So, right, so you get the point. But that's basically absolutely phenomenal. All of this is generated, so it's SVG files and all of these sort of things that it does. In his video, he shows how he gets the contours and the 3D thing going. So, okay, I'm going to stop that because I'm embarrassing my driving skills. So you can go ahead and edit this thing. I'm going to just show you where to find the YouTube video as well, where he actually talks about the challenges that he's done, that he's worked through. There's another game that he's built called Lemmings. I don't know if that rings a bell. He actually built Lemmings, and he shows how he actually got all of the characters to do individual things exactly, and how they could dig through graphics on the screen, and it would actually cut out pieces of, and then the lemmings would start falling down there. So how I would give the sprites context awareness around there's no longer ground there, they can now fall there. So right, so this is, I really can't show you anything on this. It's absolutely, I did this. He's got a game loop, and that constantly goes through and refreshes, like most of these games. But the way that he does this is insanely advanced. So I'm just going to share how this is. So there we go. So this starts very simple. It checks a variable. Yes. They moved it. So right on the first line, He checks a variable, and that part I still get. Then he sets a variable, and that makes sense. But from there, I I I don't know. There's a variables. There's so in this YouTube.
When you went through the tunnel, you could see the tunnels made up of flat planes of everything. So he set out like the track is just a sequential number, right? And then depending where player position is, you can determine where all the graphics on the screen should be and how much parallax they have and how big they are, because they're bigger when they're closer, right? And wow.
What I suspect is this logic that's in the timer function here. Is this code executing every tick, every 3 milliseconds or whatever it is, 10 milliseconds? Yeah.
So yeah, it took me a very long tick. Yeah. So so then the way that he's actually calculating
I'm surprised it runs so well. That's all I'm saying. I'm surprised it runs.
it doesn't matter. You can pick any 4 lines. So I'll show you what it's doing, and then so there's the coins. So the location of the coins that get written into a collection. Absolutely phenomenal. So I don't think this guy struggled with high school math. Comments are useful. Yeah, so when you go off road, then it becomes slower. So you'll see there it's crawling now. So there I'm speeding up again. Right, so yeah, there we go. Hit the tree, so I slow down. And so if somebody told me that was a power app, I would have said, no, it's not. Right, so yeah, no, that's so this is the video. So Scott Duro, go and check this guy out. He does absolutely insane stuff. I've had the privilege to work with him on a project before. And this guy's absolutely phenomenal. So go and check out his videos. He's also built Lemmings, like I said earlier. Yeah, and it's a completely different way that he's got to the same objective. It's actually quite phenomenal to watch. So, and then also, if you go, there's his GitHub repository, so he's got all that stuff, so you can go and download it from there as well. And okay. Yeah.
There's a YouTube channel by a guy called Lex Friedman, and he a couple of months ago, about a year and a half ago now, maybe might be a bit further back than that. There's a 5.5 hour interview with the guy behind id Software, Doom, Quake, not John Romero, the other guy. Can't remember his name, gone blank. But amazing how they did a lot of the maths, figured out the algorithms, because they were the first guys to sort of get the idea of disappearing floors on flat screens, right? That 3D. Yeah. Eh? Yeah, but he was the guy behind that. Yeah, it was that. No, John, but it was like you watch this and you just go, it's like in raw assembler. Yeah. In pretty much raw assembler.
So the moment I figure out how this is built, I'm going to build like an auto steering component that it just goes and fetches. So I'll let you know how that goes. But then while I was working and playing around with this thing, I found that there's actually gamepad controller solutions that you can import into Power Apps that you can actually hook up to like an Xbox remote. So then it registers on your button clicks. So then you can use all the buttons on an Xbox controller and actually register and do something with those on Power Apps. So I'll send you the links. I'll post it in the YouTube afterwards. So it might actually, yeah. So that's the first thing I'll go and try. Try that quickly. So John Liu, I'm sure you all know John Liu. Absolute whiskey on everything Power Platform, but he wrote this PCF control, and here he shows you how to use it. Then you actually, there's a way that you go and press the buttons, and it registers in Power Apps. You can see what button numbers they are.
Hello, my name is John Liu, Flow Ninja.
And then you can actually, let me see in the video, it shows how. So this is essentially showing the button key presses, and then you can have outputs on that. So you could do anything. You can write a collection, you can patch, you can move the character around if you import this PCF. So for that, like a purchase requisition approval on Xbox. So for those of you who don't have plans for December, you're welcome. Good. Anything anybody else wants to show? All right. So we'll post the links. This is crazy. Yeah.
Kind of. Hello. So one of the things I ended up finding was, because I wanted to try and figure out how do you get good at FPS games, because I kind of suck at them. And then I ended up finding out that there's a group of people putting together a documentary called FPS Documentary. And they've grabbed all the guys that did Doom and Wolfenstein and all that from ages ago. And they're putting a documentary together basically about games from then. Yeah.
That's awesome. Does it run on Power Apps? Yeah. Just, Right, so let
They built a new it's a event venue in Las Vegas called the Sphere, and it's was it 14.5 million pixels? Mm. Yeah, and it's like yeah, well, but I mean you see it, and it's like and the opening act for it was U2. And it like, but you just see this thing and you just go, okay, great piece of engineering, but why? Well, yeah.
Right, so any questions? Not about how they built this game because I don't know. Yeah, no, that's pretty darn impressive. So, the first thing, what's the first thing that you did is you went and said, okay, well, can I go to the mountains? How far can I go to the left? Yeah. So, anybody else wants to show anything? Good. So, yeah. So Jonathan, what are we going to do for that prize? So we've got snacks after this, and then we're going to join the bigger community night quiz. So then there's going to be lots of prizes on that side. So we're going to join the other meetups, and then we're going to have a global community night between us all. So thank you very much for coming, guys. I hope it was fun. Looking forward to some new submissions next year. No. Bootcamp. Yeah, bootcamp is in March. So go and register. If you don't know the link, we'll post that on the YouTube channel as well afterwards, and we'll just send it out over email as well. So we hope to see you all there. Good. I think so. Yeah, so I think so the sessions are still open, so you can still go and submit sessions. Yeah. So maybe we must get Scott to go and present. Excellent, guys. So thank you very much for joining, and then I hope to stick around for snacks and then the community quiz afterwards. Awesome. Thanks, everybody.